Yeah, hi, my name is Rami. I'm the one that's in charge of the website known as www.techieguys.net, which is the Linux blog. I know some people have sent me comments regarding the backup tool, which is known as bacula, which is one which allows you to back up and restore your system just like any usual backup system, but this is on Linux itself. I'm just going to go through a step-by-step guide. I said this is just a step-by-step guide on guiding you on how to install and set it up. Regarding the system itself, just to cut it short, it's just a backup system, just like any other backup tool that you would ever come across on the World Wide Web and that you see in shops as well. Now, to begin, what I'm going to do is basically do sudo apt-get update. So what this will do, of course, is it will check for any updates. It's going to, of course, ask for my password and everything. So so I'll just type that in. It checks for the updates. Once it's done that, of course, the next stage, of course, will be to install SQL. Now, I've already got SQL on the system itself, so I don't need it. So in the gadget itself, I mean, what you'll need to do, of course, is type in sudo apt-get, and it'll be SQL server according to instructions, but as I said, I don't need to type that in. So what I'm going to do here is go to the next stage, which is going to be downloading and installing the bacula system itself. So I'm going to get this particular screen, as you can see. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever set up Apache website. I mean, there is an article on my website on techieguys.net which allows you or explains regarding the Apache web server. So as I said, this will just give you some sort of introductory on what you need to do. So what you're going to do, you're going to select internet site. And so what you're going to do, just going to press enter. It's going to ask for the system mail name. So if you haven't set up a mail server, as I said, you could leave this blank if you wanted to. But I said in my case, because I've already got a domain, I'm just going to enter my domain name, which is my mail server, and then I'm going to use that. And then, as I said, it's going to ask, do you want to configure the database? So you're going to have to select yes for that as well. And then it's just going to ask for the database administrator. Now, usually, in my advice, to make it easier for everyone, when it comes to the part, it's a nightmare learning more than one password. I mean, I've tried to memorize loads of passwords, it just drives me crazy. The easiest option, of course, is the password used to set up your Linux system or Debian system is use the same password. So set that as the main one. So if you're known as admin and use a password like, I don't know, London65, then set it as London65. So I'm going to basically enter my admin password, and then it's going to ask me to confirm and create the password as well, which is what I've done. It will ask me to repeat it again. So I said, during the first 3 stages, do exactly the same, whereby you keep the same password, and then you select OK. It's just going to go through the setup itself, as you can see, of postfix, etc. So as you can see, it's doing all the downloads and installation of the actual program. So just give that a couple of minutes. Right, so that's basically completed now. So it's done a few things. So you can see a long list of a few. So everything is actually downloaded and installed. Next, of course, we'll be creating a directory for it. So that's what we're going to do next. Yeah, so basically just coming back to the directory itself. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to cut and paste this, is type in sudo mkdir, which is for make directory, -p, of course, is so that it says the necessary parent directories. and then I'm going to create the folder called bacula or directory / backup. So I'm copying that, and I'm also creating another directory which is bacula / restore. The reason being, of course, is so that if at any point when I do the backup I want to restore it, it knows it's got a restoration point somewhere on the drive itself. So once I've done it, I'm just going to press enter. So that's now basically created it for you. And so what we need to do here will be configuring or editing the configuration file, which is the bacula-dir.com. So if you're just going to get, yes, as I was saying earlier on, so we're going to configure the bacula directory.conf file. But as I said, before I do that, I'm just going to enter this command here, which is sudo -r bacula :bacula /bacula. So what that is indicating is I'm just gonna give write permissions, of course, to that particular folder. So when you do that, you're gonna press enter. It will then basically take you to a next screen and everything. Once you've done that, of course, it's gonna be, I'll use the chmod. Now the reason I like to use chmod, of course, is to make it easier, because you're given full write permissions to the actual folder itself. So I'm going to use sudo chmod -r 700. So 700 means it gives read and write permissions to the bacula folder. The reason being, if you don't do that, when you try to do a backup, it will reject the backup itself. And basically it's just going to come with errors. It's going to come and give you, like, that's what it says, right, please use whatever command you need to make it writable by using 755 or 777. So any number beginning with 700 plus means you're giving it read and write permissions, including executing permissions as well. There is an article on techieguys.net, comment which one, because I've got like 50 on there already, but as I said, there's one giving you all the commands regarding what each of the numbers mean and what what they would do. So as I said, now that we've made that read write, I'm just going to go to the next screen, which is basically, it'll be doing the rest of the configuration of the bacula file itself. Now it's going back to the configuration file. So what I'm going to do here now, in the article, as I said, I'll put it as sudo nano /etc/bacula/bacula-dir.com. And as I said, you could use VI, you could use VIM, you could use nano, you could use gedit, whichever one. I mean, I like VI because, as I said, it's plain simple, and at the same time it shows stuff in like color rather than normal black and white text kind of thing, and then you have to search for it. You know what you can uncomment and not comment, and vice versa. So it's plain simple. So once you've done that, you're just going to press enter, and it should come with the file, as you can see here, which will give you the list of everything that you need to literally do. So we're going to edit this file itself. Yeah, so in this configuration file, so you'll see this long list. Now the section you need to edit, of course, you have to go further down until about this point where it says basically standard restore template to be changed by console program. You'll find below you've got job, the name, of course it'll call it restore files, type equals restore, it'll have your client. So basically your client could be either to leave it as blank ID or call it whatever it is you want to call it. It by default will call it the name of your machine. So if your server or your username is called Timbuktu, it'll call it probably Timbuktu ID. And then of course the file set is set as full set, storage equals file, and then the pool is the default one, message is standard. Now the where location is what we need to edit. So basically in my case, what you need to do Now, as you can see, because you've got the green box on the far end, it's not letting you type, etc. Now, on your keyboard, you're going to press the Shift and A, which goes to the end of it. So basically, if you're using VI, it's Shift and A. And then, as I said, like that, you could then delete and just wipe out what you need to change. Now, in my case, the where location, if it's in the article that you follow, will be bacula/restore. So basically, that's what you need to set it as. And then, so like that, every time it knows restore point without any problems. Right, now after that, we're going to go to the next line, which is the section which says list of files to be backed up. Now, you're not going to be changing much at all. All you're going to be doing here, of course, is in the section here, we're just going to press enter, and then tab, we're going to type in compression equals is caps G zip. So basically, as I said, so you're going to do it in the gzip format. As I said, as far as I know, you can also change it. You could put in, make it as zip. You could make it as tar, whatever format it is. So basically, this is just compression type you want it as. Now, gzip, if you go on the internet, you'll find most files tend to be of GZ with a format ending in .gz, which is the gzip format. So I'm just sticking with that one for the time being. And then, of course, below that, as you can see, you've got here file equals file name. So if you want to, do a particular file, and then, of course, you've got this blue writing here, which is notes, /backup. It gives you a description, what it does. Now, where it says file here to be backed up, I'm going to change it because at the moment it's saying user /sbin. I'm going to change it because I want to back up my home directory or the root directory, whichever one. I'm just going to basically just leave it as a /. So basically it's going to back up everything in that drive. I can, however, to make it easier, I can put my home directory, which is home and remote. You have to make sure you enter it correctly, unlike myself. I just did it in caps. So, and that will back up the remote directory. So if you've got multiple users, each user will have like home / Max Steel, home / Unreal, whatever it is. So I'm just gonna, as I said, if you want to back up the full root, you just put a / and it will back up the whole directory for you. So once that's done, we're just going to go further down below what we just changed. Now you'll see something that says exclude, and you'll have like, the opening, capture key, etc. Now the only one I want to edit here is the second, third line. So after you got exclude, you got file equals varlib bacula, and then you got file equals the non-existent path log xyz. That one, we're going to change that to just / bacula. So basically it's the bacula directory. Everything else you just leave it as it is, and that's it. So just make sure it matches what I just cut and pasted for you, and all you have to do is then press escape on your keyboard. It'll take you right to the bottom. You press the shift and the colon, and then you just type in WQ and press enter. Now that'll take you back to the main thing. Now WQ is basically you're saving, you're exiting and saving at the same time, or saving and exiting at the same time, whichever way you want to put it. That's what that does. So basically that's your configuration file for bacula set up. Now there is another file that we need to edit as well, which will then basically, after that will be every full configuration. So yeah, so next file we're going to edit, of course, is the etc /bacula /bacula-sd.conf. So I'm using sudo vi as well to do that. Now, when I continue, the other thing I didn't mention, of course, is if you're not the root user, you have to use sudo.